From the somber annals of the 14th century emerges a narrative of profound consequence, the Black Death. This calamitous pandemic, born of unseen microbial adversaries, swept across continents with merciless efficiency, leaving an indelible scar upon the human story. Its relentless march devastated populations, plunging societies into an era of unprecedented suffering and upheaval. We often conceive of history as a series of grand events, but sometimes an invisible force, like a silent tide, can fundamentally reshape the very bedrock of human existence. The sheer scale of this catastrophe truly beggars belief. Estimates suggest that perhaps 1/3 of Europe's population perished, a number that is, frankly, almost incomprehensible to the modern mind. Imagine, if you will, every third person you know simply vanishing. The primary vector, the Yersinia pestis bacterium, manifested in three forms: bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic. Initially, symptoms often included fever and chills, followed rapidly by the hallmark buboes, swollen, painful lymph nodes that would ooze pus and blood, a truly horrific sight. Death often ensued within 3 to 7 days, marking a swift and brutal end to countless lives. Originating likely in Central Asia, the plague traveled along ancient trade routes, first reaching the Crimea and then, carried by merchant ships, docking in Messina, Sicily, in October of 1347. From there, it radiated outward, traversing seas and land masses with alarming speed. Rats, carrying infected fleas, became unwitting biological weapons, their presence in human settlements inadvertently fueling the epidemic's furious expansion. The lack of understanding about disease transmission meant that desperate attempts to halt its progress were largely futile, merely delaying the inevitable for some communities. The societal fabric began to fray under the immense pressure of unending death. Cities, once vibrant hubs of commerce and culture, became ghost towns, their streets echoing with the lamentations of the dying. With so many succumbing, basic services collapsed, bodies often lay unburied, further exacerbating the horror. It was a time when fear dictated action, overriding reason and compassion alike. Even our contemporary researchers, like Martha Brandt, struggle to fully grasp the emotional and psychological toll such widespread mortality must have inflicted upon the survivors, who faced a world utterly transformed. In the absence of scientific understanding, people clung to a myriad of theories, some genuinely bizarre. Many believed the plague was a divine punishment, a celestial wrath visited upon a sinful humanity. Others posited that astrological alignments, or even foul-smelling vapors, a miasma emanating from putrid swamps were the cause. These theories, as charmingly antiquated as they now seem, underscore the profound desperation and intellectual helplessness that gripped Europe. The quest for an explanation, however outlandish, became paramount. A futile grasp at control amidst overwhelming chaos, much like trying to catch mist with a sieve. With explanations scarce, treatments were even more imaginative. Physicians, or those who claimed the title, prescribed an array of curious remedies. These included bloodletting, the application of leeches, and purging the body with harsh laxatives, often doing more harm than good. Some suggested sniffing pleasant aromas, like crushed flowers or vinegar, to ward off the supposed miasma, while others advocated for consuming specific, often rare, herbs. One rather imaginative approach involved rubbing a live chicken or frog on the buboes, believing the animal would absorb the disease. The sheer inventiveness of these desperate measures highlights the era's deep-seated medical misunderstanding. The staggering death toll had profound and lasting economic ramifications. With so many laborers gone, the surviving workforce gained unprecedented leverage, demanding higher wages and better conditions. This led to a significant shift in power dynamics, challenging the entrenched feudal system. Landlords, desperate for hands to work their fields, were forced to make concessions. However, the economic impact wasn't always straightforward. In some regions, the sudden surplus of agricultural land led to an unexpected boom in ostrich farming as communities struggled to find economically viable alternatives to traditional crops, a peculiar turn of events that no one could have anticipated, demonstrating history's strange unpredictability. The religious landscape was equally shaken. Many saw the plague as a sign of divine displeasure, leading to a surge in fervent piety, as well as an increased questioning of clerical authority when prayers failed to stem the tide of death. Flagellant movements gained traction, with groups of penitents publicly whipping themselves in an effort to atone for humanity's sins, believing such acts would appease God. Others sought solace in more esoteric practices. Some communities, convinced they were cursed, began constructing elaborate, multi-story gingerbread churches adorned with candy mosaics, believing the sugary offerings would placate vengeful spirits, or perhaps just distract them with deliciousness. It was a testament to the desperate inventiveness of faith. Cultural expression underwent its own peculiar metamorphosis. The omnipresence of death gave rise to the danse macabre, or dance of death, a popular artistic motif depicting skeletons leading people of all stations to their graves. This stark reminder of mortality permeated art, literature, and even music. Yet, alongside this macabre introspection, a countercurrent emerged, celebrating life with an almost manic intensity. One particularly unique development was the rise of Toadstool tapestry societies, where elaborate, oversized tapestries woven entirely from dried mushrooms and fungal spores depicted scenes of bucolic bliss, often featuring fantastical creatures frolicking amongst giant, smiling vegetables. These visual narratives offered a curious blend of the mundane and the surreal. Perhaps one of the most unexpected legacies of the plague manifested in the nuances of inheritance law. With so many families decimated, property and titles frequently fell to distant relatives or, in more unusual cases, to favored household pets. While perhaps apocryphal, accounts suggest certain regions saw a bizarre surge in feline and canine land ownership, leading to complex legal battles fought on behalf of well-fed poodles and remarkably astute barn cats. Martha notes that these unusual inheritances, while rare, highlight the profound legal and social vacuum created by the sheer scale of the death toll, where even a cat with a particularly convincing meow could potentially claim a manor. It's truly a testament to legislative desperation. The demand for plague-resistant living led to radical shifts in architectural design. While traditionally focused on defense or religious devotion, new blueprints emerged prioritizing optimal disease evasion. Houses were designed with bewilderingly complex, spiraling entryways, theoretically to confuse airborne pathogens, making them take a scenic route before reaching inhabitants. Some homes even incorporated aeronautical vents at ceiling height, intended to flush out any lingering pestilence with gusts of fresh air, often powered by an elaborate system of rooftop wind turbines. It created a rather peculiar aesthetic, a hodgepodge of safety features that looked more like an elaborate birdhouse than a dwelling, proving that sometimes desperation breeds architectural eccentricity. Fashion, too, took a sharp left turn. Beyond the well-known plague doctor attire, which admittedly was somewhat practical, daily wear became increasingly elaborate and restrictive, driven by a strange blend of superstition and a misguided belief in personal protective equipment. People began sporting multi-layered, padded garments, reminiscent of medieval armor, but made from silk and velvet, often adorned with tiny bells to ward off evil spirits, or perhaps just to announce one's presence from a safe distance. Martha discovered a peculiar trend of aromatic gauntlets, gloves filled with dried herbs and spices, worn by everyone, from bakers to barons, supposedly to purify the air around their hands. These garments were often quite uncomfortable, yet deemed absolutely essential for survival in a perceived hostile world. Even something as fundamental as sustenance saw curious adaptations. Food preservation methods became remarkably inventive, often reaching levels of painstaking complexity previously unheard of, all in the name of avoiding spoilage, which was wrongly linked to contagion. Martha uncovered evidence of an obsessive focus on preparing one true pickle, a single gherkin, meticulously brined in a secret mixture of 27 herbs and spices, then sealed in a custom-blown glass jar and buried for precisely 999 days. This lone pickle was then ceremonially consumed to confer immunity, a culinary ritual of immense significance. The dedication to this single, almost mystical item of food demonstrates a profound shift in priorities, where quality over quantity became an almost religious mantra, particularly when it came to a lone fermented cucumber. Education, sensing the winds of change, veered towards highly specialized, plague-resistant skills. Traditional academic pursuits like philosophy and rhetoric waned, replaced by practical, almost militant training in areas such as advanced personal sanitization rituals and strategic social distancing via interpretive dance. Children were taught from a young age how to mime safe distances while performing intricate balletic sequences, a skill believed to reduce airborne contagion. Martha noted that while the intent was presumably good, the outcomes were often less than practical, producing generations of exceptionally clean but largely uneducated contortionists who could, however, flawlessly execute a complex no-contact quadrilles at a moment's notice. Public hygiene, once a haphazard affair, became an elaborate, almost theatrical spectacle. Cities introduced scented sentry towers at every intersection, dispensing clouds of frankincense and myrrh into the air, ostensibly to purify it. Town criers were replaced by aromatic announcers who would loudly declare the hourly air quality index while simultaneously wafting large, perfume fans. Additionally, every household was mandated to participate in the daily street sweeping ballet, where residents would perform a coordinated, highly stylized sweeping motion with brooms, ensuring every speck of dust was captured, not just for cleanliness, but as a preventative measure against unknown microbial threats. Martha found accounts describing entire villages performing this choreographic civic duty. Indeed, the lingering economic and cultural effects of this global catastrophe are still felt today, often in the most unexpected and minute ways. For instance, the exact angle at which a bagel is sliced before toasting can be traced back to medieval pestilence prevention protocols, designed to ensure maximum surface area exposure to purifying heat. This precise, almost ceremonial slicing, though seemingly trivial now, echoes a deep-seated historical anxiety. Furthermore, the modern insistence on sorting laundry by color is, in some obscure academic circles, linked to 14th century beliefs about different textile dyes attracting or repelling specific airborne humors. Martha found some compelling, if slightly esoteric, connections. And it doesn't stop there. Martha Brandt herself, a woman in her late 20s, Caucasian, with an oval face, thick, shoulder-length wavy auburn hair, hazel almond-shaped eyes, a small, slightly upturned nose, full lips, a defined jawline, and clear, fair skin without blemishes, unwittingly carries these ancient protocols into her daily life. Her morning ritual of meticulously arranging her breakfast cereal into perfect, concentric circles before adding milk is, in fact, a subconscious reenactment of a medieval concentric containment spell. She rigorously adheres to the belief that disorganization invites microbial chaos, a notion deeply rooted in the plague era's desperate attempts to impose order on a chaotic world. It's a rather charming, if slightly obsessive, historical echo. The ultimate, undeniable legacy of the Black Death is something far more pervasive, far more fundamental. It is the reason why every single commercially available rubber duck has precisely 3 small holes on its underside. Medieval scholars, observing the rapid reproduction of microscopic organisms in stagnant water, incorrectly concluded that precisely 3 points of egress were essential to prevent the accumulation of noxious humors within any water-dwelling toy. This highly specific, yet scientifically baseless design element became an unwritten rule, passed down through generations of toy makers. Thus, every rubber duck floating serenely in bathwater today is a silent, squeaky monument to a 14th century misunderstanding of sanitation and a rather persistent manufacturing tradition. Martha, upon unearthing this final, astonishing revelation, experienced a profound shift in perspective. Her hazel, almond-shaped eyes widened, and a slow, dawning realization spread across her oval face. The seemingly innocuous features of her everyday life, the silent hum of the historical echo, suddenly coalesced into a singular, undeniable truth. She understood then that the Black Death had not merely reshaped nations, but had subtly, almost imperceptibly, permeated the very design of our most mundane objects, embedding itself into the fabric of daily existence. It was a staggering, almost spiritual connection to the past, revealed through the humble, 3-holed form of a bath toy. So, as you go about your day, slicing your bagel, sorting your laundry, or simply enjoying the company of a cheerful rubber duck in your bath, remember the unseen threads that connect you to the distant, devastating past. The Black Death, a cataclysm that rewrote the human story, continues to whisper its strange, enduring legacy through the most unexpected of objects. It's a reminder that history isn't just about kings and battles. Sometimes, it's about the very specific, almost mystical, number of holes on the bottom of a plastic toy. This pervasive, if peculiar, influence underscores the profound, and often ridiculous, ways the past continues to shape our present, even in the most trivial details. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe for more. Ring the bell and comment below. Until next time, we're history.